Hello, I'm here with Marianne Marcote. I've invited Marianne to do one of the first interviews that I'll be posting online because a workshop that I did with her recently on the Work That Reconnects has been very influential in my decision to create these videos. And it's also been a really wonderful resource for me to deal with what's going on in the world at the moment. So Marianne, would you like to tell us a bit about your work and yourself and how your work can be applied to what's happening in the world right now?
Thank you, Nessa. My work, my background is actually in the arts, is in performance, and then I started to work. I studied drama therapy, and I started to work as a drama therapist, a creative arts therapist. And then I came across the Work That Reconnects some time ago, and I found it was a very good and also creative resource that helped me to contain a lot of the emotions and the feelings that I was having in relation to honoring and noticing and being with the pain for our world. So that's how I came across Joanna Macy's work and the Work That Reconnects, and and since then I find that I can apply it, and that it connects very much with the work that I do as a therapist, because I find the work very incredibly therapeutic, even though it's not therapy, but it is very therapeutic, and also work that is not really just in the mind, but I find that when you embody all of the teachings of Joanna Macy and the teachings that come from experiential work and from all the work in eco-activism that she's been doing for 91 years. She's 91 years
Wow.
now. So I have been finding that helpful, and I really enjoy facilitating, because I think another key of the Work that Reconnects is that it creates community. So all the work is open source. You can find it in the website, workthatreconnects.org, and anyone can use it in order to create community and to link through the experience of being together through this container, through these structures. Yes, yeah.
I should give the viewers a bit of context. You and I met through the Dublin Eco-Village Network. So we've been doing workshop or meeting together, I suppose, with other members of the group, working towards creating an eco-village in or near Dublin, where we would grow our own vegetables and have an intentional community where people can support each other. And so that's really this work, it feeds very well into that. And
sure, yeah, it really does. And that session that we had together, it also facilitated us coming together and started to create that sense of community, didn't it, Nessa?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been meeting online as well to do sessions with Work That Reconnects while we're all self-isolating. We've been making an online space to do this as well.
Yeah, and I really, I have been finding it helpful as well to create a space where we can still communicate, and also in a group, so that we still have that sense that even though we are in so-called isolation, but we are actually that to be connected. You don't need actually to be physically close to somebody, that if the heart is ready to receive, and if the heart is open, you can connect even if you're not physically close. And it does create, for me, I have to say, it has been helping me to create a sense of interconnectedness and a sense of unity, like, you know, that we are not actually separate, because when you find that you're connecting with somebody at this level, you have to begin wondering, okay, what is this connection about, you know? Yeah, are we really that separate, or are we all part of a whole, what Joanna Macy calls the web of life? And I feel through the web of the internet, we have been meeting each other in that web of life, which has been, I am finding it quite, yeah, special and interesting to observe how the relationships can blossom and be nurtured even through this space.
So Marianne, you've offered to actually do a practice with us during this interview. Would you like to tell us what you're going to do?
Yeah. I was saying to Nessa before we started that everything I do, and because I am an actor, my impulse is always to act, to experiment, and to be in the body and to embody. So rather than telling you, for instance, what is the spiral of the work that reconnects, maybe we can go through the spiral of the work that reconnects together, and so that you have also that experience, and you can begin perhaps to notice what that may mean for you.
Because we were finding it very difficult when I was talking to Marianne before the interview. We were finding it difficult to define what the work that reconnects is, and having experienced it, I have a sense of what it is, but I don't know how to describe it. So I think that for people watching and getting involved in this as well, it'll really help them to understand.
Yeah. I mean, if it is something, it's really a very deep resource to navigate difficult times. And I think that's where the origin was. In eco-activism, about 30, maybe 40 years ago, when Joanna Macy started, and realized that a lot of activists were getting burnt out. So to offer, and she's the Buddhist scholar as well, so a lot of the teachings of the work that reconnects have that, you know, that sense, that soulfulness of her experience, lived experience of Buddhism, and then her very practical mind, almost like a scientist of, a researcher of what is happening in the world. So when she I think the essence of the work that reconnects, she calls it the spiral, and she says it's a spiral because it has different stages, but it's not that we travel one stage and then we go to the next and to the next and to the next and that's it. But you know, we can revisit every stage different times, and every time we revisit that stage might be a little bit different. So and that it's also not linear, you know, so it's not linear like that. It is, and I mean, the movement of the spiral is something really organic in that, isn't it? I mean, I'm noticing I'm moving. That's my body.
Yeah.
So, yeah, wanting to speak to. So the spiral of the work that reconnects begins with gratitude, and I think in a lot of spiritual traditions, a lot of spiritual traditions begin with gratitude. And there's one thing that Joanna says, and is that gratitude is the most subversive act that we can make or we can take, that we can do the gratitude. Because as long as we are grateful, and by grateful I don't mean just to say I'm grateful for this and that, but to really embody that gratefulness in the body, to really allowing yourself to physically feel that. And when we do, and it's very interesting nowadays, because a lot of the things that we were used to relate to, or that we have been taken away from us. So when that's not there, what are the most essential things that we need in order to be well, and even to thrive? And when our everyday routine has been taken away a little bit from us, we are confronted, or we are placed with the essence of what perhaps is the essence of what is important, or what we actually cannot do with. So what is it that we cannot do with? We cannot do with fresh air. We cannot do with water. We cannot do without air. We cannot do without water. And when that is really a felt sense in the body, I think the gratitude becomes quite real and understood at almost at a cellular level. But in order to do that, I think we need to stop for a moment and to allow ourselves to take in that moment, and to take in those things that actually allow us to thrive physically and spiritually. And I think when we do that, we realize that a lot of the materialism, consumerism is actually not needed. That if we are grateful for what we have, we are not consumers, because that's a lot of how we are seen. We are not citizens, we're consumers.
Yeah,
that's how that's who we are. But when we really practice that deep gratitude, we realize, no, I'm not a consumer, I don't need that. And it's when the whole then system can start to crumble, because the system needs us 100%. The system needs us. The capitalist system needs us.
and if we can step out of that in some way, we can break it down.
When we realize we don't need it, then it's a different place to be. When we start to ask the question, do we need it, or does the system need us? And it's a good time to reflect on that, I'm finding. So this is gratitude. And so as an experience of gratitude, Joanna uses a lot of what she calls open sentences. And it's a very helpful way to begin to personally reflect. An open sentence is just a prompt to get you reflecting on something. So with the beginning of the spiral, which is gratitude, what I'm going to invite you to do is to just even close your eyes for a moment, if you feel comfortable with closing your eyes. And I'm going to say out loud to you a sentence, and then inside for yourself, you can finish the sentence and see what comes up for you. And the sentence is, for supporting me to live, I give thanks to. For supporting me to live, I give thanks to. And here's where I find this: I cannot do without this. live. And here, Nessa, you probably notice you're going to a very almost primal, essential place. But most of the time, I feel we are very disconnected from. The simplicity of being. And as you are connecting with that, and you're connecting with even the word gratitude. Gratitude. Where does that land in your body? Which part of your body do you feel gets activated when you bring in gratitude? And that's like the kernel of the spiral, the seed of the spiral, and from that place of gratitude, the spiral begins to grow. The very delicate but yet quite rooted plant begins to grow. And I think those roots are that gratitude that really roots us down to our earth body. Because we are earth. And then what happens then is that gratitude also, if we bring then the gratitude and we open up that gratitude to everything that is connected, but outside of ourselves, if we bring out that gratitude to the world, to the earth, to nature, to every single sentient being, then we begin to emotionally connect with that. And what happens, unless we are emotionally connected to something, we cannot grieve it. We cannot grieve. In order to grieve something, we need to fall in love with it. So in order to honor our pain for the world, we have to fall in love with the world.